So, I recently played through Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. A guy who I used to work with wanted me to play it so badly that he lent me his VCR. His only reason being that he thought I'd like the campaign. I'm not making this up. The funny thing is that this was the first time I even touched a Call of Duty game since Black Ops 2 back in late 2012. I didn't play these three, and I'm never going to. But anyways, did I like Infinite Warfare? No. And it's not because of the future setting or people saying it looks too much like Halo. I don't know where the fuck people are getting that from, okay? It looks nothing like Halo. Unless, of course, people are making references to the new Halo games after 343 took over, which I didn't bother to check the fine-tuned details because, frankly, I don't fucking care at all. And even if Infinity Ward did completely and utterly rip off Halo's art style, guess what? I still wouldn't care. Because that's the least of this game's fucking problems. The setting, the art style, it has nothing to do with it. It doesn't bother me any. In fact, it's one of the best things this game has going for it. I don't like Infinite Warfare because it's the same fucking thing as every other Call of Duty game in history. It's the same boring as fuck, slap you silly pipeline linear level design where you're jammed through on a fast track with no freedom to even fucking breathe, constantly interrupted by first-person cutscenes you can't skip, with non-stop, seizure-inducing, assault on all the senses battles, and enough guns going off at all fucking hours of the day to send you into a sensory overload breakdown. If you've ever played any Call of Duty game, then you've played this one, and you've most certainly played them all. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys to death by breaking down Call of Duty's game mechanics in depth or anything like that, though if the demand is high enough, I'll make a separate video on that and put a link to it in the text, so let me know if you guys want to see that. But what I am going to tell you is what I liked about Infinite Warfare, because, much to my own shock and amazement, there were a few very faint, but still there, glimmers of hope that this game wouldn't totally suck. That hope completely vanished within the first 30 minutes of playing, but at least we still had it for whatever it was worth. Let's see. Ethan was pretty darn cool. He's not only the best character Call of Duty's ever had, but he's also the most human, which is pretty ironic considering he's a fucking robot.
Captain Aldernew, first troop ready model. Quite remarkable. We're revealing him at the ceremony today.
You know I got stage fright, right, sir?
You got feelings, Ethan?
I do, Lieutenant. I do. I carry the brain of a human farmer.
Holy shit, are you serious?
No, ma'am. Not at all.
He got you, Lieutenant.
Did not.
Be careful with him.
Captain, please. I can look after myself.
Ethan, go to engineering, see Mac, get a clean bill.
What about you, sir?
Don't you worry about me.
Try and stop me, sir.
I don't know if this was an accident or intentional, but either way, Ethan is for all intents and purposes the best character to ever happen to Call of Duty. I know that's not saying much, but it's a start, I guess. And speaking of story, I'd say at least half the cutscenes here are traditional. As in, not first person, and require not only multiple camera angles, but precise timing and actual fucking transition shots. Look right here, you're seeing them in action. Now, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I could have sworn that there was actually some faint glimmer of a grain of sand of actual fucking effort put into this story. Not in the writing, of course, because the game writes like a fucking third grader writing a first rough draft of a practice midterm paper in English class, but in the way it was presented to us. And I know traditional cutscenes aren't new and that they were in Black Ops 2, but they didn't appear to be in the 3 Call of Duty games that I didn't play. I've seen footage of them, maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough, and I don't care enough to go back and double check, but for now just think about it. Actual effort put into a story in Call of Duty. Albeit very minimal effort, and in only one very isolated section, but actual effort put into a Call of Duty game. When was the last time you ever saw something like that? And now, something that really amazed me. You remember the areas where you could fly your starfighter? Well, get this. You have a fighter that, lo and behold, are you ready for this one? Are you sitting down? You have full control over. Yeah, How about that? I thought it was going to be some on-rails thing, because it was after you got full control of it the first time, and I had to watch out for the obligatory combat zone barriers, but number one, that one time was the only time it switched to on-rails, and number two, as long as I stayed in the confines of the combat zone, every other time I could fly around and blow shit up as I pleased. It's like, whoa, slow down there, Infinity Ward. At the rate we're going, we're only about another 15 games out before we have level design that actually lets you go off the beaten path without insta-killing you. Are you guys feeling okay? Is everything alright in the world of interactive Michael Bay movie pseudo-video games? Are we living in some kind of twisted funhouse version of our world without realizing it? Has the human race finally started to wake up and actually have some common sense for a change? I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. And one more thing that was almost a good thing is the specialist difficulty. No regenerating health, bullets do a lot more damage and have a very real effect on you depending on where they hit, and a bunch of other neat little things. The only problem? It doesn't fucking work in a game like Call of Duty, where more often than not you're forced to charge directly into the line of bullets being fired at you. Why on earth anyone would put something like this into a game like Call of Duty is beyond me. And again, it's not the difficulty mode, it's actually a really nice idea, it's just the game that it's in. This is so counterintuitive, it's not even funny. The fact that you can die in one shot in this difficulty mode, and many times you have to run right into the line of fire, is the furthest thing from a challenge. This is creating a gimmick so that it's a challenge. Fake difficulty in its finest modern form. And that's it. I didn't play zombies or multiplayer because I was so disgusted with the campaign that I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there by the time I was done with it. And besides, if a game can't stand on its own two legs with its campaign, it has no business being in anything else. And since Infinite Warfare follows the standard Call of Duty formula for 90% of the time, it was either boring or rip your hair out of your head irritating to play. I got so fed up with it by the end that for the last hour of the game I was borderline yelling at the TV for it to end already. I didn't even care when Ethan died. I just wanted the game to be over. I wasn't even like, ah man, he died, that sucks. I was like, oh my god, can we just end this fucking nightmare already? Thankfully it did like 2 minutes after that, but that doesn't change the fact that Infinite Warfare is fucking garbage. I know I've said this so many times now, but it's the same goddamn thing as every other Call of Duty game out there, and the really funny thing is, I remember reading about Infinity Ward saying, oh yeah, we want this to feel like the most different Call of Duty game ever.
I want people to play our new game and say like, wow, I haven't seen COD change so much since Modern Warfare.
Well, I got some bad news for you guys. It isn't. Despite me not picking up a Call of Duty game for over 4 goddamn years, within minutes of picking this one up, I was quickly reminded as to why I stopped playing to begin with. You want your next Call of Duty game to feel completely different from the rest? Then throw out this entire fucking formula and go with something that actually works. Something like Doom 4, or any other shooter from the 90s and early 2000s, and I got a great way to help you guys do that. Activision, get off their fucking case and let them make the games they want to make. I know it seemed like I was blaming Infinity Ward for this disaster of a game throughout this video, but I wasn't. I know who the real bad guy is, and I also know that Infinity Ward is just a bunch of frightened little peons who are being malevolently ruled by a Genghis Khan wannabe named Bobby Kotick, who any gamer worth their salt knows and utterly despises with the burning intensity of a million stars going supernova at the same time. And I hope that 50% reduction in sales or whatever the hell it was sent Bobby Kotick into a panic-induced heart attack, and I also hope that he survived, woke up, and smelled the fucking coffee, because goddamn, you guys have had this coming for years, and if you continue to go this way, those sales numbers are only going to get smaller. So Activision, get off their ass, stop hounding them, and let them try something new. That is if you're actually smart enough to do that, but let's be real here. We all know you're not.
How about this one? I call it bold and brash. More like belongs in the trash!
Sorry, I must have missed that one.